All right, hello everyone, and welcome to episode two of about said the Tuesday special of Take It Home, the interactive wrestling podcast. Internet is a little sketchy if you're watching this live, so if the video quality is terrible, I apologize. I'm still listening. I'm still talking. Luckily, I filmed this with other cameras, and there it goes. It cleared up a little bit. Okay. So welcome. I'm a little bit more prepared, and I want to give a shout out to the one and only, most of you know him who listen, and that is Brad Wilson. He is now officially my producer for this show, so if it sucks, it's all on him. I know I can talk. I'm okay at it. I can talk a lot about professional wrestling, but if the topics suck, it's on him because I'm giving him full credit. If it's amazing, if everything works out, it's not a cluster like the first episode was, then awesome. If it is a cluster, then it's on me because Brad did his homework and he sent me all of the topics and I got some good ones. Not to mention, you can hit me up with any topics you like throughout this show. For those listening to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you listen to the podcast, you can catch this this is a Monday taping just because of everything that's going on in the world. And if you want to hear my thoughts on that, I've fully promoted it on the Tuesday Special podcast, my personal podcast, and the Wrestling Open Forum show that just aired at 12 o'clock today. And that's a free episode we put up on Facebook because our pivot share that is associated with our pivot share that's associated with our Wrestling Open Forum that goes to High Spots Wrestling Network is messing up. So instead of holding it off even longer, we decided to go ahead and throw it up for free on Facebook. So you can check it out right now. Like, you can check it out right now after you finish this. 1 second. Let me do one thing that I forgot to do in my setup. Let me just scoot this through here because listen, my computer dies. We're all done on this thing. Okay. Bear with me. All right. Now we're game. I just realized my computer was at 26%. But this is right behind me is Brian. Not really. This is I think his name's Joe. It's one of my boys is skeleton that he enjoys and he wanted it to be in the podcast. And who am I to say no? He deserves to be in the podcast. So once again, I have about 4 or 5 topics that I'm going to shoot at you. I can see your comments up here, and we'll roll with it. So I'll shoot through my comments or my topics that Brad sent me, and then after that, I'm taking requests, so you can send at any point in time. I encourage everyone that's watching live. I really want this to be an interactive podcast episode because I do love the interactive nature of going live on social media and being able to have a fun wrestling conversation with people over the internet that I haven't seen in a long time, with the exception of Dutch. So hopefully you enjoyed the Series of Supremacy episode 1. A lot of hard work went into it. Episode 2 airs tomorrow. And if you've seen the graphic that we put out, it is Montana Black versus Cody Fluffman. It's a fun match. It is a very, it was fun because it was the first match we filmed in the day of filming. And I guess I'll get into how we did all this. We came up with the concept of doing shows for no fans in attendance so that we could really give the boys and girls a payday. Unfortunately, we contacted a few of the female stars, and none of them were available on that day or felt comfortable with doing the podcast. So we unfortunately don't have a female match in the 5 episodes, but that was the goal, and that was what we did. So, sorry guys, I'm trying to make sure I keep up with everything, so I got it on 3 places. All right. So the way we did it was we scheduled an entire day to film in 2-hour blocks to film match. The first hour was for cutscenes, interviews, and matches. And so we worked all that out. Then the second hour was the first hour was for cutscenes, in interviews and anything extra that we needed to do. So like the first hour of the day is when Corky came, shout out to Corky Franks, came and got the drone shots, which we used very, very subtly. And then I think the first one was from 8 to 10, 10 to 12, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. That's no details that need to go out. So we do all this. We film all 5 matches. We started at like 8 o'clock in the morning. The matches started at 9. So we started at 8 o'clock in the morning, filmed the entire day, got done. I think me and Brad left the building at 10:30 that night. So shout out to, I hope I don't forget anybody. Thank you, Brad. 9 to 11, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, and then 5 to 7. But we were lazy, or not lazy. We just had a lot to do at the first, so we had to stay in and film some stuff at the end. But shout out, let me see. I hope I don't miss anybody. All the talent that you see, it's a hard thing for talent to come, and even though you're getting paid, it is a very hard thing to wrestle in front of no one. The bumps hurt worse. You have no crowd to feed off of. You have to be in your zone without your natural element. And so kudos to every episode is great. Every match is amazing. Every match brings something different to the table. And I'm really I am going to get to thanking everybody. I'm just making sure I have everybody in my head right. But I am very proud of what our team created, because this is the first time, the team that we currently have, this is the first time that we've ever put it to task to film wrestling for a production aspect as opposed to documenting a live event. If you're in production, you understand what I'm talking about. If not, don't overthink it. Just understand it. But yeah. So let's see. Brad Wilson, Kevin Jordan, Kevin Pierce helped out a lot. Brian, of course, for funding it all and backing our idea, my original idea, and him putting pieces together, and then everybody coming together as a collective team. Tommy Thomas and Dave were an amazing commentary team. I asked a lot of them. Thank you, Katie Sparks, for coming in and doing ring announcing. Once again, Corky for coming in, and I put it out there on social media that I wanted some drone shots just to add a film element to it, and it came in. Corky came through and came up, and that drone was I've seen people shoot with drones before, but I've never shot with one up close, and that thing is insane. And Corky swears that you can't break it. I think you can, and I'm pretty sure people have before. But yeah, Corky swears by it that you can't break that thing. And he even flew it into a chair, and that's another story for another day. So if I missed anybody, I apologize. It's an amazing array of talent. I'm super proud of every episode and every wrestler that came in and worked for us. And I'm glad we could give them a little bit of money during a pandemic. And yeah, it's a fun, and I encourage everybody to watch it just because it's something different. And that's what I wanted it to be. Like Brian, no offense, Brian, but Brian sent me a laundry list of things we need to fix and add. And I had to, he didn't break the chair. But a laundry list of things that we need to add, and I got it. I understood what he was saying, but it made it very typical and very what you'd expect from PWX. And we filmed this with really, we had a hard cam running. I have hard cam footage. I really don't want to use hard cam because I like the aspect of using 2 ring cams and making it like a fight scene in a movie. And so that's the theory behind the matches. With Fluffman and Montana, we get a little cinematic, and it's fun, and it's very subtle. It's not like a boneyard match or a what's it called? Firefly Funhouse match. It's not that to that extent. It's more of the intro and the outro is very using cinematic effects, and it was very fun to do. It was very fun to try to explain to the talent and understand like how we're going to put this together in the back end. And kudos once again. I got to give credit where credit is due. Everybody trusted my judgment, trusted what my vision for it, and yeah, super fun time. Something I'm really proud of, and I think it's like we've always been. This is me tooting the PWX horn from a production aspect, but we've always been told that our production is well, and I don't take credit for that because I have an amazing team that allows me to be a producer as opposed to in the past where I had to oversee every aspect of production. And when I have to oversee every aspect of production, it kills any flow that I have to get into focusing on what I need to focus on, and that is the look of the product, the feel of the product, and the stories and the messages that we're trying to convey through the product, through each show. So once again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I encourage everyone. It airs 8:00 every Tuesday in June. A new episode on PWX. It's not. I think we're putting them on the website after they air, but you can go to the YouTube.com/PWX Pro Wrestling. It airs live like a premiere. It's not live, so I don't know why I said live. It airs like a premiere on the YouTube page as well as simultaneously on the Facebook page, Facebook.com/PWX Wrestling. So I encourage everybody to check it out. And thank you guys for tuning in. And let me jump to these topics. So hit Series of Supremacy. All right, first topic from Brad himself. Comes in with I think it was 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, maybe 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure 2 weeks. There was a situation with Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho. And he wanted to know if it was good or bad. And the segment lost viewers. And how do I think it'll affect the company short term or long term? I think, I'm not going to tread lightly. I'm just going to give my opinion. So, and I encourage anybody to give their opinion as well if you've seen that segment. I know if you watched Dynamite live, or if you've seen the clip, I think they put the individual clip up on their social media, on YouTube and Facebook. But yeah, one of my criticisms of Dynamite has always been that they recycle a lot of things. Not Dynamite, I'm sorry, AEW. Is they recycle. I was very critical at the beginning because I didn't want them. They seemed like they were recycling a lot of WCW stuff. I can't pot calling kettle black. We did War Games, and they're going to do War Games. That's a hot topic now, but yeah, I think they were trying to recreate the Tyson Austin 90, 97, 98, somewhere around there moment. I do think it fell flat. I think that Tyson, although Tyson is a big fan, and I think he believes in his mind he wanted it to be successful. So I don't want to put blame on Tyson for saying roughly Tyson is the one who messed it up, or Tyson didn't take it seriously, or it was. I just think that the story goes that the Austin push wasn't planned, and if that's the case, then I think we got Real Emotion, which you can never beat. You can never beat real emotion in any form of entertainment. If you get real emotion, that's real, and that's what you're trying to convey to the fan base. Yeah, I think this felt staged, set up. Tyson not being able to tear the shirt really hurt the segment. And I don't know, man. I don't think they got to where they wanted to go with it. I think personally, the whole Tyson experiment with AEW, I don't know if they're still doing something with them, but I think that I just don't think, I think that it fell flat. And I think that the best thing that Tyson did was sell the choke slam of the young boy from Lance Archer at the pay-per-view. And that's all they got out of it. So once again, I said it on the Tuesday, I don't know why I have Tuesday special, probably because I didn't do one this week, but I said it on the Wrestling Open Forum podcast that I wonder if they paid Tyson. I know that the whole story behind it is they met in Vegas at Double or Nothing last year. They became friends. I don't know if they called in a favor. If they did call in a favor, he did it for free. Hey, that's how you do it, boys. That's how you do it. Game strong. If they didn't, then that was not a good investment. And please, to Mike Tyson, don't hear this and get pissed off at me because I'm truly terrified of you. But yeah, I'm in agreement with Brad. It felt kind of like an old school. Traditionalists will hate this analogy, but it felt like an old school studio taping news anchor getting into it to sell some tickets at the local baseball stadium. That's what it felt like, and it just didn't seem real. It seemed like they were acting. And I don't know. I think I don't know. I think they could have done it well, but I've been listening to too much Eric Bischoff on his podcast, and I don't want to armchair book. But if I agree with Kevin, I think if Tyson should have knocked Jericho out, and then let it play on. I don't know if Jericho was against that because there was no backup plan, or there was no plan moving forward. If this was just like a one-off trying to get views on ESPN Sports Center, if that's still a thing, or just trying. I mean, there's not a lot going on in the world today, so I mean, it was a good swing. I just think they missed. There's, once again, like I said, there's not a lot of sports going on in the world. There's not so if you give ESPN or NBC Sports or any outlet, Bleacher Report, anything like that, if you give them a reason to cover something, they will cover it and they will hammer it if it's getting views. And I think that if it was done a little better and didn't look as sloppy, then it would have gotten the pub and the views that it should have. And it might, hey, I don't know, it might have gotten the views that they were looking for and the publicity they're looking for. So I don't know. It's that's just my opinion on it. And I appreciate the swing. I do. And if I had the chance with Mike Tyson, I would, there's no way I could let that go without him having some kind of confrontation with someone that just might give him the itch that if you got that for free, then maybe you can pay him and him do a match. And then you've done something that's never been done before. Like Mike Tyson's been an enforcer before. He's been on like the ringside area for a match and gotten in the ring and gotten physically involved, but he's never done a wrestling match. And he's an athlete. I think don't forget, he's super in shape now and he wants to box again, but Tyson, Beasley said it best. Tyson is Tyson, and he's gonna have fun, and he's a for lack of a better term, Anthony, he's a beast. And if he wants to get in a wrestling ring and have a wrestling match, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a 5-star match, but I think it would draw numbers. I think it would draw viewers, and that might be where they're headed. I don't know, but I feel like it's kind of like, man, I don't know. It was just sloppy. I didn't watch Dynamite live, but I did watch the highlight video of it, or not the highlight, like the recap on social media that has like the whole scenario play out. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think, Kevin, I agree. I think that he should have knocked somebody out. That's what people pay to see. That's what people have paid to see in Vegas and wherever he fights all his career is him knocking people out. So why you don't? I don't know if he didn't want to. I don't know. I mean, when you hear about Mike Tyson, then I'm gonna cut it off after this. When you hear about Mike Tyson and you hear about how when he got out of shape is because nobody had like teased his ego, or nobody had lit that fire in him again that he once had when he thought he was invincible and he just wrecked everybody. And apparently somebody's done that now, and maybe he takes himself seriously and he doesn't want to. He's not fighting regularly, so maybe he doesn't want to throw a working punch and knock somebody out. And somebody be like, "Oh, well, of course he can knock somebody out in wrestling. Can he knock somebody out for real?" And that you just don't want to deal with that whole media storm of BS that comes with being a professional athlete and doing something in professional wrestling, and immediately the media goes to, "Oh, but that's not real." But I don't know. Brad asked, would you rather take a punch from Tyson or fight Lesnar in a bar fight? Punch from Tyson. I feel like. Kevin Jordan said, fight Lesnar. If it's a bar fight, I can at least try to get a stool bottle or pull cue. Oh, I'm saying punch from Tyson. You might have like a broken jaw, dislocated jaw. And, yeah. I'd rather take that because I feel like Lesnar is just. I feel like getting punched by Tyson is like getting hit by a baseball, like a fast pitch, like a Major League Baseball pitcher hitting you in the chin with a baseball. I feel like fighting Lesnar in a bar would be like you in a cage with a bear, and it could maul you for as long as is needed, or it can knock you out with one shot. I don't know what it's going to do. At least with Tyson, you know that punch is hitting you, and you're going to wake up next week. So I'm going to be the pussy in this and say that I will take the punch as opposed to being manhandled by the bear that is Brock Lesnar. But yeah, no, neither if that's an option. All right, guys. Topic number 2 is that we all saw that Cody won the TNT title at Double or Nothing, and the next episode of Dynamite, he announced that the title can be defended by wrestlers not signed to AEW. I thought about that. I read this article that Brad sent me. I thought about it, and I don't know, man. I think I like the idea of it. I really like the idea of it. But you have to look at the reality of the situation. And if it were me, and I will book this because they haven't done it yet, and maybe they can steal a story, is if you're going to push something like that. And I feel like AEW guys have a tendency to go on, which I think he did this on TV, so it might have been planned. But let's just say it's planned. Like this was planned to get some eyes on the title, which, by the way, I know it's a prototype. It is the ugliest title ever, underneath the 24/7 title. But I know like they're supposed to get the full title in the future. But let's say it was planned. If it's planned, then you need someone that is not contracted by AEW to win the title next. Because if not, then it's just a fluff piece angle that makes you think that somebody from the outside is going to come in. If I had to book it, I'd say Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb's done good business with AEW. He's under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling, so he can't sign a contract. Well, I guess he could sign a contract. I think he's exclusive contract in. I don't know how it works. But let somebody from New Japan this. I don't know. This could be a way for them to create a working relationship with New Japan or Ring of Honor or anyone else that would want to do it. But I don't know. It's yeah. I think that if they put over someone that is not contracted, they put over someone that is not contracted by AEW for the title next, then it was a good move, believable. It puts over that anything could happen. I agree with you, Kevin Jordan. I'd love to see Tanahashi come in and win it. I think, I know, like, listen, I don't, like, you read stuff, and I'm not saying it's true or not, but I know that there's bad blood between the Young Bucks and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And not just because I've helped New Japan Pro Wrestling before, but I just think that would be a solid business relationship to grow the AEW brand to a worldwide level. And I think the second biggest, you maybe could fight for that. England or Europe has the second biggest wrestling population, but I think it's Japan. I don't see why it wouldn't be Japan, but yeah, if you could grow that AEW brand to the Japanese audience, man, that's just good business. And to run a successful business, sometimes you got to put personal feelings aside and do what's right for business. So yeah, I think that if you were able to put someone over, not contracted, after making that statement, you don't have to do it next week. You don't have to do it next month. Cody deserves a title run. And I appreciate him taking the secondary title and wanting to build that. I assume the TNT Championship is going to be like the Intercontinental Championship of AEW, because Jericho, man, how can I say this? Jericho had the title first. He's not a workhorse champion. He is an entertainment champion. He is a name that will get eyes on the product. That's why he was champion. Anybody in wrestling that has been on the business side of that understands that concept, understands that thinking and why they did that. And I agree 100% with it. Then like Moxley has it now, and Moxley is like a hardcore guy. I mean, every match he has is a hardcore match. Every match he's known for in AEW is a hardcore match. So you establish the AEW World Championship as not your workhorse championship. I think that the TNT title, Cody has the wrestling ability to make it a workhorse championship. So the TNT title needs to be your a la Intercontinental title in WWE. It needs to be the where the best wrestlers in the world come to compete for it. So, I mean, that's just the way I feel. But I think, going back to the topic, I think my pick would be Jeff Cobb, because once again, it's a new title. You're building your brand. You don't want to put it on somebody and some shit go down and just give you bad press. Cobb is very trustworthy. Cobb does good business, and Cobb is believable. And that's Cobb titles have been put on Cobb and Ring of Honor to build those titles, and they did. I still to this day think that the best. I was lucky enough to go to the Ring of Honor New Japan Madison Square Garden show live, and I still think the best match of that entire card was Cobb and Ospreay. And they opened the show outside of the Rumble that aired on the pre-show. Like, they actually opened the pay-per-view. And that speaks volumes on a card like that. So, I mean, that's my take on it. That's who I would book. But yeah, I feel like if you don't do that, then what you're starting to build a reputation on is that you're making promises just to get people to watch. And I think that the wrestling fan base is smart enough to pick that up quicker than in the past. So, I don't know. I like, yes, Brian, very good seats. Thank you, New Japan. But yeah, I like the idea. I like to believe, and I do think that Cody, I like to think that Cody follows through. I agree with yes, Hector. I agree. I didn't even think about that. I think Gresham would be great. Would be a great opponent and maybe a great person to take over that title. And once again, I think that there needs to be, like, I understand the individuality of AEW and wanting to make your brand. That's why I really don't agree with working with a company like Ring of Honor. No, nothing against Ring of Honor. I think Ring of Honor is on the upswing. I think Ring of Honor is doing finally on the right track. And I don't know if that's Marty. I don't know if that's someone else. But I feel like they're on the upswing. They were going down, and I feel like they're on the upswing. But that doesn't grow your audience. I think that if AEW, and I'm getting off topic again, if AEW is going to use this platform and this statement by Cody to create a moment, unpredictability, and a business partnership with a company that has a more global footprint than they do, I think that it should be New Japan Pro Wrestling. And your pick of the litter, Will Ospreay. Pick of the litter. Will Ospreay isn't going to be under contract with any U.S. company. He's made it known publicly that he's a New Japan guy, and he's there to build New Japan. I don't think Impact. I just don't think anything that is stateside. I hear you, Beasley. I'd love to see Suge get that opportunity. Would love to see Suge get that opportunity, but heck, I was just talking, like, which company should AEW do business with? Ring of Honor, Impact, or NWA? I think that they've done such a good job with their individuality from the start, like not doing the show. Like, one of the big things that I was upset about was them not doing a show on WrestleMania weekend, because I feel like that's even people, there's still wrestling fans that aren't aware, and I feel like that's a good place, a cheap place from a marketing standpoint to grow your brand. And but I get it. They don't want to be a part of that scene. But I just feel like Ring of Honor, Impact, or NWA doesn't help their. I mean, they got a foothold on the American. I mean, they're doing what, 700, almost 1 million views on TV. So you got to feel like they're touching the fan base of America, but they eventually have to think of their global footprint. And I think that out of all the companies you can work with outside of WWE, because we know that won't happen, I think New Japan has the biggest footprint outside of WWE on a global scale. So I hope that answers your question. Brad, Sammy versus Cody would be fun, but I just don't see, like, I love Sammy to death, but I don't know that people that know Sammy, let me see. Sammy is one of my good friends, but people that don't know Sammy and don't know his passion for what he does often mistake that for unreliability. And that's not true. Sammy just has a belief system, and he sticks to that belief system. And if somebody screws him out of that system, or is against if somebody presents something that does not fall within his belief system, and he tries to make it right, and they don't care, then he leaves. And I think, and that's what happens. And I think because of that, people that don't understand the situations involved with a few places that Sammy has left, that it's that's why I don't think they would pull the trigger on Sammy. But yeah, so let's see. Jumping. All right, guys, I got a few people that jumped on. You're more than welcome to shoot some topics my way. I got 2 more to shoot through. We got about 20 minutes left. I'm going to shoot through these 2 real quick because I don't have a ton of information on them. But yeah, so next subject was the New Japan Pro Wrestling. Good segue. Cuts executive pay to avoid cutting talent. Hey, kudos. You did what WWE failed to do, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it might have been strategic after they saw the layoffs of the 30-plus people that WWE threw out the door. Yes. All right. Beasley's trying to jump back into the Cody thing. White Mike versus Cody, I'm all for. I would love that opportunity for White Mike. But yeah, I mean, kudos. There's not much to say to it in a sense of, I think that I feel like I can say this confidently because I've worked with the office of New Japan, and God, I feel like there's a level of respect in Japan for wrestlers that American companies do not possess. And I didn't realize that statement, and I didn't realize the magnitude of the difference until the Southeast tour we had with New Japan earlier this year. And I'm not going to get big into details of what made me realize that, or why I realized that, or what makes me think that the American companies don't have. It's just that in America, the best way I can explain it is in America, wrestlers are treated like wrestlers, like performance artists, entertainers, et cetera, et cetera. In Japan, wrestlers are treated like athletes. That's why they have jumpsuits. That's why they travel on buses. That's why they show up as a team, including management, including staff. They show up as a team. That's why they leave as a team. It's just, it's an amazing. My time with New Japan, you felt like you were a part, even though we freelance with them. You felt like that you were part of a team. And I'm not saying you don't feel like you're a part of a team if you work for WWE. You don't feel like you're a part of a team if you work for AEW. I'm just saying that everything is together. When you go out after shows or you have a free day, you do it together. It's not, let's go to work. And I mean, that might can get misconstrued, but it's like, this is my family. This is my team. There's appreciation for every aspect of the business in their mindsets. And I think like situations like this where their executives have no problem. I assume they have no problem because it came out very quick and swiftly, that have no problem docking their pay. And this is executives that are, some executives, yes, very cohesive. Thank you, Brian. Some of these executives are Bushy Road executives, and that's the company that owns New Japan. And that's that some of them don't even have like a part of the New Japan that agreed to take cuts. So just respect, man. Like ultimate respect that I mean, in situations like this, I think that you can lean on the situation and say, listen, we can't pay you your contracted price, so we're going to let you go. But then you can find, if you're a good business, if you're a good company, you find ways to cut budgets in areas that you can cut them, so that you don't send somebody home without a paycheck. And I think ultimately moving out, not saying any names, moving out, you see what company appreciates their talent more. And yeah, I'll put that out there. I feel confident putting that out there into the universe. So last but not least, and then I'm going to shoot to some of your topics if you a-holes ever give me a topic. WWE bans the buckle bomb just so Cross can do it at the NXT pay-per-view. No. WWE bans the buckle bomb after, let me see, after Nia Jax injures Kairi Sane with botched whip into steps. So somebody fill me in on why did they, here, I'm going to pull this article. Why did they ban the buckle bomb? Why was the buckle bomb not banned when it crippled Sting? There was a spot that was messed up on Monday Night Raw. I saw that with Nia Jax and Kairi Sane that resulted in Sane getting cut open. The spot in question had Nia Jax whip Kairi. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess it's not a, I don't know. Brad, help me out. Is it, okay. So Kari Sane got hurt with the buckle bomb. Yeah. So a buckle bomb has, separated Finn Balor's shoulder, nearly crippled Sting, and hurt Kari Sane. I think the bigger picture here is I'm not a proponent for people getting fired. What I'm a proponent for is for when people aren't good enough to be on TV, they shouldn't be on TV. They should go back down to training. You have a ton of classes. You have a building. And, so she botched the buckle bomb and also botched the whip. Okay, gotcha. I'm with you, Brad. Sorry for the confusion. I read the article and I didn't realize it. So the buckle bomb speaks for itself. You have 3 big stars injured. Don't do a move. Don't do power drivers because people get injured. And the problem with moves like a buckle bomb or a power driver is eventually that move by itself isn't, I don't know why I'm power driving air, but that move isn't enough. So once you wear that move out from a wrestling perspective, it's not enough the next go round. So next you have to do it on the apron. And then when that isn't enough, you have to do it off the ring to the floor. You have to do it on an exposed floor. When that isn't enough, you have to stand on 2 chairs and do it through 2 chairs. When that isn't enough, you got to do it off a ladder through a table. And that's how people get hurt. So, ban the buckle bomb. That's fine. I understand completely. And it should have been banned before. Next thing is Nia Jax shouldn't be doing shit to anybody. Because is Nia Jax not the one... And I don't want this to be just be the shit on Nia Jax show. Is Nia Jax not the one that fussed about Ronda Rousey hurting people? And like hurting Becky or Alexa Bliss. That's what it was. Hurting Alexa Bliss. And Nia Jax's track record is she like destroyed Becky Lynch's face. She has hurt numerous other people. And now she's busted someone open on one of the most simple moves you can do, an Irish whip into steps. She either doesn't understand her power or she is under, I don't want to make accusations. She's under the impression that, she was mad that Alexa kept getting hurt. Yeah, okay. She's under the impression that who she is and who she's related to gives her a shield of punishment. There should be a system in place in wrestling that when someone gets hurt the first time, it can be an accident. 2 things can be an accident. That's what a promoter, a trainer, a producer, a whatever WWE has. That's what you have to look at. That's what you have to evaluate. Could this have been avoided? Was it? There's 3 questions with every entry. Could it have been avoided? Was it necessary? And was it an accident? Usually, one of those 3 questions are answered when somebody either gets busted open, breaks a bone, or gets legitimately like almost paralyzed or knocked out, or something like that. That's what I always ask. How I always evaluated it. And there's, most of the time, not all. I can give you examples. Let me see. Jason Cade got knocked out from a power bomb on the ladder at the last Land of Opportunity in Gastonia. Ethan Case got hurt in the unsanctioned match, not unsanctioned, like the match with him and Elijah in Gastonia when they exposed the boards. But that situation, the Cade situation was just pure accident. There's ladders involved, and people you understand that when you book a match like that, and there's ladders involved. The move was safe. There was nothing. It was just with the whiplash because the ladder was on the ropes and he hit his head. So that's chalked that up to an accident. No one's fault. Just something that happens, a part of the job. Ethan and Elijah went into that match knowing that you might crack a rib. You're going to take a hard chair shot. You're going to take this big move on boards. Slim J gets knocked out all the time. Yeah, Slim. That's called Slim's crazy. Yeah, like Slim. Okay, we'll do a Slim J story. Slim J almost breaks his ankle doing the slide at another ladder match at Land of Opportunity that was at Cabarrus Arena 2 years ago. Sliding down the ladder on the chair, and once again, that could have been avoided. Yes. Was it just a move and it was made a moment and people went crazy? Yes. There's different variables. But when there's a consistency of one performer hurting other performers, and you always have to ask yourself, well, whose fault was it? And there's always a question in your mind that it is that talent's fault, or that possibly is that talent's fault. Then send her ass back to training at the damn performance center. You have a training facility that she lives next door to. I think she does still. Why can you not say, listen, I mean, is she that big of a star that you can't have TV without her? She just came back from like 6 or 8 months. And I like Nia Jax. I like her gimmick. I like her look. I like that she's different. I like her power. I like her presentation. But listen, man, eventually you have to realize that you're shortening careers. You're shortening careers with one of two things. You're shortening careers with ignorance, or you're shortening careers with just not understanding the basics of wrestling, and that it's a dance as opposed to you just throwing people around or you punching people in the face. But yeah, it does. I agree with you, Beasley. It seems reckless. It's like recklessness. It's the equivalent of someone who feels like they can get away with anything and just goes out there and beats the shit out of people. I mean, you have Brock Lesnar in your company, a legit badass, one of the biggest dudes probably walking the earth from a muscle and size and height and standpoint, that takes care of people. I mean, he busts Cena open or Orton open or whoever he busted open with his elbow that was planned. Yes, he suplexes people. How many times did you hear Brock Lesnar hurting people? Outside of The Undertaker just getting knocked out of WrestleMania. Shout out to the Last Ride documentary stuff. I don't know. I don't know if she just, because of who she's related to, she has a pass. But if it was me, then you go back to training to where you're not hurting people. Because once again, it comes down to business, and business says you have people like Kairi Sane who can't buy a break. And that's probably one of your top Japanese talents from a female perspective in the company. And you take her out, or you get her stitched up. Like, what if somebody did it? Like, if somebody, let's turn the tables. Let's say somebody threw an errant chair or threw an errant elbow and busted Nia Jax open 4 times in 6 months. Would she say, listen, something needs to happen to this person? I would. If I hurt 3 or 4 people in 2 years, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with your training. There's something wrong with your understanding of the process. There's something wrong with your ability to understand the power that you possess. I don't know what's going on. I'm not there. It's just my assumption. And do I think Nia Jax needs to be fired because she's reckless? No. I just think she needs to be taught. I think she needs to be, it needs to be reiterated that people do this. This is a job. This isn't people doing this for fun. This isn't a hobby. Sorry. This is people paying their mortgages by wrestling, and not to mention they've next to killed themselves to get this opportunity. But I don't know. That's my take on it. And since let me see. Somebody give me a topic. If you don't give me a topic, I have 5 minutes. What I'm going to talk about is I'm going to give WWE props. If anybody has seen, I just watched the 24 I just watched the 24 for Ric Flair on the WrestleMania weekend. And if you could, you look back at all the it started with the WrestleMania recaps. I can't remember what year it started, but when they started doing the documentaries, the 24 hours or 48 hours before WrestleMania, or during WrestleMania weekend, and they put it out the next year. Listen, there is nobody, I'm going to say, including the Vice crew or the Dark Side of the Ring crew, which shout out to them, because those episodes, the storytelling in those episodes, and the amount of studying and knowledge, or learning what happened in all of these, the amount of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm getting tired. I'm not used to doing these this late. The amount of time preparation that went into those episodes before they filmed them is insane. And they take the cake on that. But nobody anywhere in entertainment, maybe 30 for 30 or E60, tops the documentary style of WWE. Those dudes are on point. On freaking point with their stuff. It's it's next to none. So if I usually don't tell people to get after you pay $9.99 for the High Spots Wrestling Network, I encourage everybody to at least pay $9.99 for a month on the WWE Network if you already if you don't have one already, to check out these documentaries. Because if you're a wrestling fan, for me, it's because I get to see finally how WWE does stuff in the background. Also, it humanizes these guys. Like the Undertaker thing, I understand that he waited until he didn't have to live the gimmick anymore, but it humanizes the Undertaker. I agree with you, Kevin Jordan. Edge's 24 was insane. The Undertaker Last Ride is so good. Every WrestleMania documentary, the recap the next year that they show after, or either before or after the WrestleMania, has always been amazing. The R-Truth one was so good. Let me see. Heck says, who's WWE 24 would you like to see next? I'll tell you what would be a good one, just because I'm going to throw two out. I know they probably didn't do it just because it wasn't planned, but the whole story of Becky Lynch finding out she was pregnant and then deciding to, and then moving away and handing the title over, I think that 24 would be amazing. Yes, I agree with Brad Wilson. I think that was my next one. God damn you, Brad. Vince McMahon. I think a 24 day in the life of Vince McMahon would be the ultimate selling point for their documentaries. But yeah, so check them out. Shane's Return would be good. Heck, I love how you guys want to start fucking talking to me when I have to take it home. Nah. Yeah, you see what I did there? So yeah, it's time. I usually allot an hour for these bad boys. Thank you for joining me at 9:00 on a Monday night. These usually come out on Fridays, every other Friday. So not the next Friday, but the next. Let me see what the date is. The reason I pushed it to Monday of this week is because last week, there's a lot of shit going on in the world. And once again, like I said, the first of this podcast or this stream, I've talked about it on my other podcast. I've let my voice be heard. The 19th. Thank you, Brian. But there's a lot of stuff going on that oversees professional wrestling, oversees anything that I do. and I wanted the focus to be there, and I continue to want the focus to be there. So I encourage everyone to fight racism. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag Save Black Lives. We have a voice. I feel like we have a responsibility to stand for our brothers and sisters of color and to have their back. I have so many friends throughout, like, this is a wrestling podcast. I have so many friends in professional wrestling that are black and that I feel like are family, that I could almost name all of them, like in almost in the hundreds. And yeah, I feel very strongly about this. That's a consistent message that you're going to get from me. If you don't feel that way, don't watch my shit. I don't want you to watch my shit. Just figure out your life, because you're wrong. And I don't want to get into a political debate. That's just where I stand, and that's where the people that support me should stand and better stand. On a more positive note, as you can see, I'm wearing my Brooklyn's Own Beast Shad Gaspard shirt. I encourage everyone, if you have the ability to go to Collar and Elbow, pick up one of these. The funds go to his family. I think like Pro Wrestling Tees has one. Just find it, because I never got to meet him. I've heard like ungodly amount of stories about how amazing of a person he was, and I know a ton of people who got to meet him and who had experiences with him in and outside of the wrestling ring. And yeah, dude, it's a shame when somebody gets taken too early in the wrestling business. It's also a shame when a kid loses a father. People lose best friends. A wife loses a husband. Yeah, it's just a shitty situation. And that goes back to Black Lives Matter. Like, we don't need to stand for people being lost for no reason. And that's what's happening. And, we're releasing, Brian, I'm sorry, I don't have the I do have the information. We are updating our website tomorrow, and I'll let Brian announce it. We'll announce it on our page. We're going to start donating to local Charlotte Brothers Keeper Alliance, local Charlotte charity, or not charity, local Charlotte movement, and a group that yeah, I won't give out all the details, but just keep an eye on the PWX Facebook page. And you'll be able to go to the PWX page and donate starting early tomorrow morning. And yeah, I encourage everyone to go donate. I encourage, if you have the ability, stand up, march, just be a positive role model, be a positive, shed positive into a very, very, very negative world right now. And I don't have the answer to fix it. I just know what I can do to do my part to fix it. And yeah, so thank you guys for joining me. I feel like this episode was 10 times better than the last episode. I feel like I'm more organized. It's still a clusterfuck, because I got 4 computer screens in front of me and 3 cameras around me. But we'll get to it. So once again, next show's on the 19th. Check it out. You can listen, if you didn't watch the video and you want just the audio, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, all that good stuff. Check out Wrestling Open Forum. We put the new episode out today on our Facebook. It's on replay now. And yeah, you can get mine and Dutch's thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movement. And your verbal transitions. Brian, kiss my ass. But yeah, so thank you guys for hanging with me on a Monday night. Sorry you had to miss a little bit of Monday Night Raw with trainees in the crowd, but hopefully this entertains you. That's what it's all about. That's what I do, and that's what I try to do. And thank you, Brad, again. Check out WrestlingOpenForum.com for all of our social media and all of our past episodes. And yeah, so thank you guys. I'm out.